So good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's unofficial weekly FM show. We have tonight myself hosting, and we have, as per usual, Ryan. How are you tonight?
Good evening, I'm well.
And then we have a special guest, half of the powerhouse behind the FM Central Boss series, Mr. John Dwerryhouse. How are you tonight, John?
Hello, I am fantastic. How are you both?
Not bad. Enjoying spring weather. So it's finally getting warm here in the East Coast in the U.S., and I am enjoying a little bit of sunshine and not freezing my ass off anymore.
It is good to have the sun.
Yeah, we've had sun as well. Everyone has had sun.
Sun is always good. Makes the grass grow green, gives us a cheap excuse to get out and play. And then
Well,
here
actually,
we all
I
are.
tend to prefer staying in. You know, Football Manager indoors.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's nice out, it's spring, and here we all are going, yep, time to get in, need to play some more games. No sense going outside. No sense getting out there and involved in the real world. There are bugs and things like that. We could stay in here and comfortably play where the grass is always green. So, I thought we'd start off tonight and kind of go through, see how everybody's saves are going. So why don't we start with you, John? Why don't you give everybody a quick overview of the boss for those who aren't familiar and where things are at right now for you?
Well, the boss basically is it's a partnership between me and my girlfriend Carol, and how we play it is she runs the business side of the club. She's the director of football. She deals with transfers, contracts, all of that sort of thing. And I just run the football side. I pick the team and deal with the contract decisions that she makes and have meetings with all the players who get really upset when they're not getting new contracts.
Lots of key players riding the pine, huh?
Oh, yes. I mean, at the moment, it's getting horrific. I don't want to put too many spoilers in because the latest episode isn't out yet, but there's at least three players who I would say are key to us, and they're just begging to leave.
Oh.
They've been promised new deals because they come to me as the head coach asking, "Oh, we haven't had a new contract," and I say, "No problem, no problem. You can have a new contract." They go across the room to Carol, and she tells them to sod off.
And you know when the guy comes up, the little interview guy, and he says, "So how do you find working with your director of football?" And you go, "Communication is key," and the entire locker room starts to snicker.
Pretty much. I mean, I try not to help or push her in any way because otherwise it's just me running the club then.
Right.
So I let her just get on with it. Sometimes I'm not even in the room. And I'll come back and something disastrous will have happened. And
well, it has to certainly add an extra dimension and make things a little more interesting, other than just kind of sticking an 11 out there and seeing what happens.
oh yeah, I mean, I never know what's going to happen. It's in our first season, she signed Lewis Cook. Brilliant signing, absolutely brilliant. Can't fault her. Then she put him in the under-21s, and I said, "Well, you've signed him. Can I have him?" No, I've sent him back on loan. So, couldn't use him then. And that's the sort of thing we're dealing with all the time in the boss. That first season again, we signed Johan Kabay. I think we paid a ridiculous amount of money for him. He didn't show up till the end of next season. She let him stay at Palace. He played against us.
Oh.
We were paying him. We physically handed over money to him for him to come and score at the Emirates against us.
Oh.
That hurt.
I'll bet you it does. I will bet you it does. Oof. So you have any other big save action going on, or are you pretty much just focused on that series?
I've got so many saves going. It's unreal. I started off. I'll have to tell you how I started. I started blogging. When was it? Maybe November time.
Okay.
I just started. I mean, because I was listening to you guys and the Deep Lying podcast. That other podcast.
It's a good thing they're really nice guys.
Yeah. It's alright. They're okay. They're good lads. But yeah, so I was listening to you and them, and I was just like, this is pretty cool. I could do something like this. but maybe not a podcast. So I thought, well, let's just write something up. So I made one save and just kept on playing it. So I started unemployed, went to Aston Villa, a couple of seasons there, got sacked. Moved on, went somewhere else, got sacked. Basically, I went through about 5 or 6 clubs just in one save, and just kept on going, just kept writing it up. And as I was writing it up, it got wackier and wackier and wackier. So I just started writing, to be honest, really stupid stuff. But people were enjoying it. I mean, they enjoyed the fact that one player had to swallow a piece of Lego as punishment.
I think it's a brilliant idea, and frankly, I have been known on more than one occasion to threaten to staple gun a player to a ground or hit him with a cattle prod till he stops heading. So I can completely understand your management technique and style.
So yeah, I mean, and it just went mad. I mean, people reading it and saying this is funny. Can you do something different? But keep the humour. And to be honest, I got really hooked, like super hooked. I'd come home from work, computers on, and I'd be there for 6 hours. So I got, I had the talk. I got told, you're playing too much Football Manager.
The infamous talk.
Oh.
You haven't lived until you've had that talk.
No.
And then gone back and played another 6 hours of Football Manager.
Yeah, for a few days. And then I thought, well, hang on. I can get involved here. Sneaky, see, I managed to still play Football Manager.
So, genius. Absolute genius.
So now I'm allowed to play Football Manager whenever I want, as long as it's that one save.
Well, that's not a bad... I have to say, not a bad plan at the end of the day.
Well, I'm hoping she's not listening, because I've got another save going as well.
I promise I won't tell.
I just started a Santos save. And the idea is that I'm going to try and recreate the Barcelona Academy.
Nice.
So it's just going to be youth intake after youth intake after youth intake. No one's going anywhere. I mean, Barbosa's already had offers. No chance. You're not going anywhere. Well, as you said, I'm going to staple his feet to the ground. He's not going anywhere.
Hey, one way or the other, he'll still stay.
Exactly.
Nice. Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing how that one starts to progress on there and in the future how that one starts working out for you. So, Ryan, last time we talked, you had made your way from Turkey to Germany. How goes it?
It is still ongoing. I'm going through a major change, and the worry is here, I'm usually a person... On any football game, even if it's FIFA or Football Manager, I like to have a very young squad. But because I took over Schalke and they were not in the Champions League, the young regens that come through on the game that are amazing, they didn't want to come. So I've ended up having to buy the likes of Julian Draxler. I had to bring him back to Schalke, Anthony Martial, Ankal Correa. They're all 30, 31. That is the struggle for me, so that now the future plan is to try and look beyond. I may have to try and rely on the youth system to come through, even though I am in the Champions League. The club are not giving me a lot of money, so youth is going to be coming through potentially, and hopefully if real life is to be and youth can come out, hopefully I can develop and carry on the success that is. I haven't actually managed to get it written up yet, but I've got all the pictures ready, and it's just finding the way of what to write and potentially what to write about. It could be youth system. I think I spoke about fixture congestion for one time, and then I also want to try and get something in about training, because I'm very, very big on changing training, and I think it's something that's undervalued on Football Manager. People just seem to forget about it sometimes. Individual maybe not, but it's more that team training. They don't change the panels around. I think Paul actually never goes near it. He says that screen scares him. But
Yes.
the screen, I always like to go on and change things around. And I always get questioned. I did a post last year about doing ball control during pre-season, and I put it out there. The way I look at it, I could probably write it in the way that excuse me, in the way that John writes. Players have gone away on their fabulous holidays with their money that they're getting. They're coming back. They maybe haven't touched a ball. They've been out drinking, God knows what else, enjoying their holidays. Why not get them on ball control? Simple thing to do. So that it's something, because I'm trying to go away from the way I was writing on FM15, where it would be mid-season review, end of season review, so on and so forth. I want to put something in each update to keep people reading rather than just reading the same thing over and over again. And then obviously the future plan is to eventually please Colin and go back to South America and get back to the tactical ways over there after my dramatic failure the first time.
That's right. I do look forward to watching you develop and evolve and succeed down in Brazil or Argentina and adapting to their tactical style in there. So we look forward to your continued journey.
But you can't pick Santos.
Yep, that's already taken apparently.
I've got that one. You have to go to who's that? I'm trying to think of some video for Avi or Avi or whatever they're called.
That's where I was at Santos, and
That's what I mean. I've done it.
I've done it, and it didn't work for me. I might look at Argentina. So who knows?
A little Independiente, River Plate, Boca Juniors there, something like that.
Possibly. We'll see what comes up.
Absolutely. Could be some interesting stuff. So just a quick on mine. So I've got 2 going at the moment. So I have Truro City, and we're in Season 10, kind of at the midway point of Season 10. Things are looking pretty good. I think last episode we were first or second in League 1, so it's pretty tight, but we are continuing the march. I'm feeling good that the championship is coming next season. I'm starting to get ahead of myself. I'm starting to think maybe we're going to do this. Maybe we're going to pull it off. So hopefully we're going to. I got a few more episodes to prime and punch out. Unfortunately, I was busy last night, so I didn't get a chance to render it for today. But there will be an episode tomorrow, and definitely a full load next week. So we're going to keep pushing that out. The other one that I've been focusing on is Ross County. So we talked last podcast. I had a bit of a fire sale in Season 2. In the transfer window at the start of Season 2. So I'm trying to spend a lot of time sort of tactically rebuilding a team that's almost brand new from top to bottom in there. So, we're kind of mid-table, which is about where we were. So I think I felt like I'm not losing ground, but my goal is to try and get into the Euros while we're helping things out. I think we did a good job of meeting a first goal of the idea of the save, and we basically sold almost all our players to other Scottish clubs, mostly Premiership, some Championship level squads. So we really did a decent job of distributing a lot of talent around, which is good. And I've had my scouts in the Netherlands quite a bit. We have a pretty sizable Dutch contingency in the club at the moment. So interesting to see how this one will develop. So I'm looking forward to what all will happen as we go forward. So on to the topical question of the evening to test football manager ideas. So I have 2 questions I'm going to ask you. One, Ryan started to touch on training and preseason training, in season. I'll call it. We'll break the season down into 3 phases, and then I'll ask your thoughts and opinions on the subject. So we'll talk preseason team training, first half of the season team training, second half of the season team training. And the question is, how do you approach it? So, John, we'll start with you. You can use any of your saves as an approach, or just a general stylistic preference. How do you approach those 3 phases of training?
Well, I want to pick up on something you said earlier quickly. I wanted to say it, but I didn't want to interrupt. Did you say Paul never touches the training?
He touches individual training, but the team training screen, he doesn't like to move things around. He thinks it will mess everything up. If he's in a flow of form, he'll just leave it be.
Right,
It scares him. It scares him, that screen.
I was gonna say, it's kind of ironic that out of the four of us, he's the one actually coaching a team, and yet he doesn't want to touch the training in terms of team training. I just found it funny. I didn't want to say anything while you would go in, but
Remember, when we point it out to him, you have to point and laugh when you let him know this.
Yep.
oh yeah, obviously. But yeah, back to actual training. In terms of training, I suppose I'm quite similar to Paul. I don't do a massive amount with it. Pre-season is always fitness. Always 100%, very high. Just get the fitness going. Because, as you said, some of these people have, I think on my next save and with Arsenal, I think Mario Goitra's out in Malia or something. He's not going to kick a ball out there. So he's going to come back and he's not going to do anything. So fitness, fitness, fitness. And then I might even leave that for, say, the first 5-6 weeks of the season. I'll just keep them on fitness, maybe bring it down to just a high level, because that's when people start complaining. So then maybe I'll move it up back into balanced, depending on it. It really depends on how the save's going. If we're doing well, maybe I won't touch it. If we're conceding a lot of goals, as Arsenal are at the moment with me, we'll go for some defensive work. But on the whole, it's fitness at the start, hammering the fitness, and then maybe into balanced or tactical, attack and defensive, depending on how it's going. So yeah, I can't really say more than that, really. I really don't do much with that.
Okay, nope. Interesting enough to, just always interesting to get different perspectives. So, Ryan, you are notoriously the most training-focused of the FM managers that I certainly talk to, so always interesting to get your thoughts on how to handle what I'll call the 3 phases of training.
I'm expecting a lecture here now, right?
You will get a dissertation from the doctor of training.
Let me
for
just get
certain.
pen and paper for this.
My pre-season approach is it's written up on the website, but I'll break it down into how I actually do it. I break pre-season down into 3 stages. So we have starting pre-season, mid pre-season, and then coming towards the start of the season pre-season. That's a long title.
There's too many seasons.
So the start of pre-season lasts the first week, and that's where I'm doing the ball control, getting them all back. I wish we could actually see training on Football Manager, see them doing this ball control training. And then the week after that, I think everyone in the admin chat will know that I am synonymous for having about 50 million friendlies during pre-season. I select a load. I select one, and then they have 2 days rest, and then there's another friendly. 2 days rest, another friendly. I go all the way through until the end of pre-season, until about 3 days before the season actually starts. Friendlies everywhere. Yep, go on.
I need to jump in. I have a question. Sir, I have a question. If you only have 2 days rest, because I do this as well, but do you rotate the entire team?
Yes.
Or do you play... Oh, thank goodness for that.
This is where I'll come on to explain why there's so many friendlies.
Right, okay.
So
I won't interrupt anymore.
That's alright. When the friendlies start, the first 2 weeks, they're working on fitness throughout those games. So I'm getting them back to their fitness levels that I like to see in my games, because I'm not like Paul, and I'll have my teams sitting back. I like my teams playing fluid. That's a new word.
It's a very different tactical approach. That's next podcast. Ryan's going to explain fluid football for us all.
But how are you spelling this? Hang on. Flow. Oh, I give up.
So very fluid, fast attacking football that I hope that fitness training will eventually bring out. And the selection of the friendlies that I have throughout pre-season is also broken down into 3 stages. So I'll have very easy friendlies at the start, so when you go to selecting friendlies, everyone will know you'll have a drop-down list, and I'll usually select nearby teams. So say if you're managing Manchester United, you go and manage someone like FC United of Manchester or some lower league team, and you can run them over, beat them 10, 15-0, God knows what else. Just run around and get your fitness levels up. Then you go into the mid part of the pre-season, you're playing middle-ish teams, and I start changing the training approach then to suit. So if I'm playing a hard team, I'll be working on the defensive side. If I'm playing a team I know that I want to break down, they'll start working on the attacking side. So you've got all that in. I keep changing the training approaches to suit every single match. So you've got the match preparation changes to attacking movement, and then attacking set pieces if I know I need to work on set pieces, which is something I can never seem to work out on Football Manager 2016. But maybe it's something I can look at for FM17. And it all starts breaking down, and when I get towards the end of the pre-season, I'm playing really tough teams. So in my Schalke save, I think I've played. I usually go to Spain, end up playing Barcelona, Real Madrid, and their top teams, and really start working. You're coming towards the season now. You need to be playing this standard of football. These are the top teams. This is what I want you to aspire to. Start breaking them down. Even if I'm losing 1-0, 0-0 draws, I'm going, yep, the standard is improving because we're not better than Real Madrid or Barcelona, so on and so forth. I think it's an approach that works for me, but I think if you did it in real life, manager probably turn around and go, you're absolutely nuts, this would never work. Players will rebel against you and never turn up to training. But it works for me on Football Manager. At the start, I have players complaining and fitness levels drops on and so forth, but as John picked upon, I bring usually a lot of players in, and I have my Schalke save because the team I'm trying to turn around into a youth sort of team. So you've got people that will come up from the under-21s, people coming up from the under-18s that I may want to see the odd game during the season. I want to see them play during the pre-season friendlies. So it's a time for them to play and a time for me to watch them play. And then watching them, what mistakes are they making? How can I then improve them? That then works on their individual training. So it's a big, massive approach, which I'm hoping whenever I get the time I can actually expand on my pre-season approach. Throughout the season, I don't really have a mid and end season approach. I usually just churn it on to balanced, and then if I know that I need to change, that I'll watch my games, and if I end up in a scoring drought or no goals or drawing drought, I'll either turn it on to attacking if I know that my team needs to improve on their scoring. If I go on a miserable run and concede loads of goals and my defence is just a mess, turn on some defensive work. But usually it stays on balanced, average. During pre-season, it's always, no matter what it is, if it's fitness, ball control, attacking, team cohesion, it's always on very high. So they're run ragged. It's basically like Mr. Higginson's boot camp during pre-season. But throughout the season, it tones down, but then if I'm not very happy, sometimes it goes up to high and I start getting angry. And then it goes all around in a, well, not a vicious circle. I like to call it a happy circle, because I think it works, and it seems to work for me. And I do get players sometimes complaining, but I just go, yeah, get on with it.
So the important thing to note is the angrier you get at your team's performance, the more wind sprints they have to run.
Yes. It's basically like a weird version of Sir Alex Ferguson. If you want to mess with me, I'll make you work even more.
That is an important thing to write down.
Yeah, but so that's my approach. Very, very long-winded way to look at it, but in a way it kind of works, and if I can get it down in words and shown on our website, and I will, but I may have to write it down myself and have a look at it.
But definitely something interesting. So, yeah, I guess, so my training pieces, I tend to be a very fitness-oriented preseason. I'm a pretty brutal preseasoner myself. I tend to go, 2 or 3 days. I want a game. I want a lot of games, so as I want to see how things go. My only difference is I'll rotate the squad pretty heavily about the first half of preseason, and then I'll start slowly scaling back how much rotation I have as I start to hone in on a starting 11. And then I usually put a little bit of a break between the last game of preseason and the start of the season to kind of let that group recover, so that when we're ready to go, I have my starting 11 and my bench sort of worked out, and we're ready to leap into the season. I guess I follow suit a little bit at the start of the season, so I tend to be a balanced sort of medium training level up until about the December point. If we're having issues with scoring or defending, I'll flip those back and forth. But I also tend to only do rest after a game as opposed to before it until about the December-January point. And then I make sure I set rests before and after, and then I scale down the training for the run-in on the season, so that as we start kind of clicking in, we're not dragging guys down or draining them, and we're in the best possible shape as we make our runs, sort of end of January, February, March into those April timeframes where we're making those runs. Which, as I think about it and talk about it, seems a little counterintuitive, given that the fall is where most of the match congestion happens between cups and games, at least in the England system. So I may need to sit down and rethink about it as I talk out loud on that. So, okay, no, interesting to get different perspectives on training. So Ryan, you talked a little bit about your friendly approach in terms of easier confidence builders, and then mid-table, and then giving your squad something to sort of aspire to. So John, do you have anything interesting in your sort of friendly selection in your preseason?
Well, I feel quite bad saying this now, but basically I just want my teams just to hammer everyone. So I'm picking, at the moment, I'm Arsenal, so I'll be picking pre-season friendlies against, I might go up to Scotland and just do a tour of Scotland, and then, I might come back and do maybe one big game, just to, as you said, just to test them out. I'll play Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, someone like that. I think this season, we played PSG, and we beat them 3-0, and I was like, that's brilliant. But before then, it was just a battering of, where did we go? I think we went to Spain, and we played a bunch of Adelante teams, I think. But I just want high morale, high fitness, and just batter them, so that we're really happy, and we're not too tired, so we're ready for the season. So I am just picking the worst teams I can find, to be honest. I like winning.
I can't argue with you. So I will say that I am an absolute money grubber when it comes to preseason. So I will send my team into any buzzsaw or wood chipper I can find, as long as the fee is appropriate. So interestingly enough, I find that my teams during seasons tend to play better on the road, because I tend to spend most of my preseason away on the road, playing anybody who's got 2 coins to rub together and they're willing to throw at me. Because I find that I like to help, it helps augment my budget. In Ross County in Season 2, I think I've tagged on an extra $1 million to the bank with my preseason. So we've played Celtic, we've played Rangers, we've gone into England, we've played Middlesbrough and Arsenal, and I've gotten my ass handed to me 9 ways to Sunday by a mess of clubs. But at the end of the day, I'm laughing because I go cash a nice fat check, and one day I will be better. Or at least that's what I keep telling the guys, so that they don't try and set my car on fire in the parking lot.
This would suit me perfectly. We should just play our pre-season matches against each other.
Yep, you want to win, I want to make money, that would work all day long.
I've got loads of money. Carol never spends any of it anymore. Since she found out that people were laughing at her signing, she just stopped signing. So, yeah, I've got loads of money. You can have it.
I'm willing, and I'm perfectly willing to put it to good use. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up for this evening. So that's the end of this week's unofficial weekly FM show. So remember, check out the saves. We've got the boss on the website. We've got Ryan coming up with his next Traversing the FM Universe save out on the website hopefully soon. I'm going to work up Season 2 of Ross County hopefully at the end of the week so we can talk about that and Season 3 on next week's episode. I want to give a huge thank you, John, for coming by and chatting with us a little bit about the boss and your thoughts and experiences.
No problem. It was an absolute pleasure. And I want to come back next week.
Okay.
And the week after. And the week after.
Fair enough.
Can I just replace Paul?
Hey, there you go. If he's too busy out there coaching, absolutely, you can. Since we can let Jay be all upset, we'll do #John, #Jay, and he can lose another one.
Hey!
So excellent.
Victory is mine.
So thank you. And Ryan, as always, it is great to talk to you.
Yeah, as always, it's good to be on the show and good to have John on. The boss has been amazing to read. I always read it beforehand because I'm the one who puts it on the website, but I'm always laughing to myself. I think my housemates might think I'm crazy, but the writing is amazing. So carry it on, John, and I'll keep reading and laughing to myself like a weirdo.
Oh, well, that is the reason I write it. It's just to get people laughing. So I'm glad that you and everyone else is just loving it. The feedback's been brilliant.
Okay, so we will see everybody next week. So bye now.
Bye.